Oh, Chef RD. What? Chef RD's killing.
No, those can't.
Dude, SpaghettiOs?
No. All right.
Hey,
can you just be quiet? Because our correspondent's on the line.
Oh, we got his correspondent.
Yeah, he snuck out again. 3 weeks in a row. We want to thank him. Jason Knight, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about y'all?
Not too bad. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about last night's episode. Your team, Team Chandler, now 3-0. How's life in the house? And we're only talking, obviously, up through last night's episode.
Man, it was amazing, just to know that we got 3 wins under our belt. We're completely dominating the competition right now. And, my boy Austin, he got him a unanimous decision, which we thought that it was going to be a finish, but he got the decision anyways. And he looked impressive doing it. So everybody, at least on Team Chandler, was on cloud 9. It was a great experience for sure.
Have you guys, at any point through the 3rd episode, first, let me ask you this. Where are we in the filming? Obviously, 3 episodes. Are we a week in? Are we in 10 days in, 3 days in? Where are we? How long have you been in the house?
I think I want to say it was about a week in. It was weird the way that everything was set up. We had to spend some time in the hotel doing medicals and stuff like that. And then whenever we got into the house, everything just seemed a little faster than it looked on TV for sure.
So, all right, a weekend or whatever it is leading up to last night's episode, have you guys, whether it was just you, whether as a team, whether a couple people, kind of to stay grounded, you've rolled through, yes, last night's episode, was a 2-round. The first one was a 10-seconder. Do you have to keep telling yourself, let's don't get ahead of ourselves. This isn't going to be easy. We're the vets, they're the prospects, but to stay, level-headed 3 weeks in, 3-0?
Yeah, man, for sure. That was a little different. We all thought for sure that we were going to dominate, but at the same time, you have to treat every fight like it's the most important fight of your career, because if you think about it, it really is. It's always the next fight is the most important. No matter who you're fighting, what their record is, what you think about them, what your team thinks about them. It's always the most important fight, because it's always, the next step forward or the next step backward. And, in order to keep that mindset, you got to kind of be a veteran of the sport. You've had to take some tough losses that you weren't expecting to lose, to kind of get to that mindset to where, you can't underestimate anyone. And that's, I believe, just the fact that us being veterans, we were able to do that, because we've all, lost fights that we weren't expecting to lose, or lost fights that people were not expecting us to lose, and you learn from experience that you can't underestimate, the underdog.
For sure. We just talked about you. We had Dan Argueta on, who fights on Saturday, who was Ultimate Fighter season 29, I believe. And I mentioned to him, what you and I talked about last week, and how, you yelled to the opponent and et cetera, et cetera. My question now is, when do you, and again, we're only talking up through last night's episode, have you yet 3 episodes in started thinking, my opponent could be the guy who's wearing the same color as me come later, and I have to be careful. I have to watch what I say, watch what I do. Or are you not at that point yet?
Honestly, we were mindful of that the whole time, because, the veterans we were planning to go out there and kick some butt. And, we were kind of planning that we're eventually going to wind up having to fight each other. But we were all kind of on the same mindset that, even if we do wind up fighting each other, we're going to stay friends through it all. We're going to, go out there and fight to the best of our abilities, no matter who's standing across from us. And, I was never scouting out my teammates or anything like that, but at the same time, you kind of have to be mindful, all right, this guy might fight him later. He throws a really good jab, or he throws a lot of low kicks. if I do wind up having to fight him, he's going to try to take me down. You have to be mindful of that, and I believe that everyone was, from start to finish. But at the same time, we were 100% a team, and we treated each other like teammates. We treated each other like pretty much a family, and it was a great experience because of that. Everybody had that same energy, and it went all the way through the competition.
So Jason, this isn't really about the fight necessarily.
Shocking.
But that's not my role here. But no, I just wanted to say shout out to you for putting a post on Instagram with the 8-Man Strong swag that Randy sent you. We send out care packages to hundreds of celebrities, athletes, musicians, and very few of them take the time to show the courtesy and the respect and the thank you for the gift. And so I love seeing it on social media, man. Thanks for the shout out.
Man, I got the card that came with the shirt, and I can't remember everything it says, but it had a very powerful message. Just basically, letting you know if you're down on your luck, it's gonna turn around. Everything that happens for a reason. It's gonna get better, and it was way more in depth than that. And I really, really liked that card. And I passed it along to a buddy, and I told him to, keep it going. He's going to pass it along, and he's going to make sure that, whenever he tells someone, or whenever he gives it away, he's going to tell someone to make sure that they pass it along. And, I'm thrilled to see where that card might end up one day. And I think that if more people out here kind of stood behind stuff like that, then we would have a lot better world, in my opinion. Have a lot less people committing suicide and stuff like that, if we just picked each other up.
For sure.
Well, I mean, like Randy said earlier, we had Dan on, and he talked about how after he lost in the Ultimate Fighter, that he was so depressed and so sad that he wrote letters for 2 weeks to his mom and just professing how he failed and he didn't make his dream come true and he was a loser and all these things. And then finally his dad found out through the grapevine and said, "Son, I already knew. It's okay. Like, you've already got your foot in the door. You're already on your way to your dream."
He better be careful telling that story, though, that things leaked out. Things are not supposed to leak out on the Ultimate Fighter.
No, but his dad found
I'm just saying.
That was years ago.
I'm being funny, but I'm just saying.
But the point is, you're right. Like, in this fight game, like Randy said, you're only as good as your last performance.
Well, I said you have to have a short memory
to, so you can keep moving forward. But so many guys and so many women that are chasing this dream, it's a very lonely sport. And when the highs are so high and the lows are so low, having something like the 8-Man Strong in your corner, always there,
sure,
it can save lives, literally.
I'll tell you a quick funny story about Adam and everybody at 8-Man Strong. So a handful of years ago, time flies. It could have been longer, when a very young boy saved his sister from a dog attack.
Yeah,
do you remember that story? Jason, do you remember that story?
Yes, I remember it.
All right, very tragic.
Yeah,
he got all bit up, the whole 9 yards. So somehow the father found out about 8-Man Strong. And so he put an order in of 8-Man Strong for his son and his family. And Adam's like, "Your money's not good here. Are you kidding me? You are 8-Man Strong. You are what this whole, logo and brand is about. You never have to pay for a shirt from me." For that young man that did the right thing, protected his daughter. And it really is a very good company. And thank you for passing the card along. And, I'm very curious, how far that goes. How is, final question, I know you got to get back, how is the house right now? I mean, are you finding things to do? Have you started getting bored yet with, no TV and just being amongst yourselves?
Man, it was very boring for sure, but it was also kind of refreshing at the same time, to be disconnected from society, be disconnected from social media, and actually make meaningful connections with people. Everybody that was in that house, just about every single one of them, I know their whole life story. We played cards a lot, and, you always had stories at the card table, and then also just about every night we were in the hot tub. And I'm hoping that, later on in the season, they show some of those hot tub stories, because that's where the real ugly truth about people came out. And I believe if they show that footage, people are going to connect a lot better with us athletes, because that's where we were telling, our whole life story, telling, everything that went wrong in our life, everything that went good in our life, and, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I think that if they show some stuff like that, it'll help out for sure, helping us get more recognition. But to answer your question, yes, we were bored from, the time the show started until the time it ended. There were fun moments here and there, but it was definitely a boring experience in that house.
For sure. And being a veteran where I was in the middle of the ocean for 6 months, I know what it's like to have nothing to do, nowhere to go. Yours was a short time. Mine was much longer. A good episode last night. We'll wait and see if Team Chandler goes 4-0 next week, and we'll talk again next Wednesday. Have a great week, Jason. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on the show, and I can't wait to get my TV time. I'm sitting here watching every episode, looking for myself, and I've hardly seen me yet, so can't wait till my episode. But you guys have a good day. I appreciate it.
We can't wait. We can't wait to talk about it either. Have a great week. That is Jason Knight, our correspondent during the Ultimate Fighter season 31, and it is hard to believe season 31